Oh, great. All right, welcome everyone to our regular commission meeting. Ms. Perry, will you please call the roll for us?
Mayor Holly Berry.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stephanie Dalton.
Here.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Pete Phillips.
Present.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
Here.
For today's invocation, please join me in a moment of silence to reverently collect our thoughts, pray, and ready ourselves for this meeting and the duties to which we have been called. Thank you. Mr. Granum, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, we have consideration of the minutes for approval or correction for the August 20th, 2024 work session. Any corrections? If not, do I have a motion to approve as written?
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the minutes for the August 20 regular commission meeting. Any corrections? If not, do I have a motion to approve as written?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Dalton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is my mayor's report. You may have noticed a new pop of color on Dayton Boulevard. Our 4 signal box art designs have already been installed since we approved them at our last meeting.
I couldn't believe that.
Usually
I'm sorry.
incredible turnaround. I wanted to say a huge thank you once again to our volunteer public art citizens advisory board, our community development department, and our local artists for making this possible, and local business Printry for the quick turnaround. Speaking of beautification, I wanted to give a shout out to our amazing public works team, especially our laborers working in the street sweeping and landscaping departments. I have received multiple compliments in just the past few weeks from different individuals who have commented on the exceptional cleanliness of Dayton Boulevard, including Chattanooga Councilman Darren Ledford, and I wanted to pass along the compliments to those responsible. The next Food Truck Friday is this Friday, September 6th at Red Bank Park from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Enjoy live music from Randy Kyle's band. Food trucks including Clever Creamery, Culturelicious, America Runs on Pizza, Joyful Hearts Cafe, Freddie Hanner Food Truck, and Windy City Eats. And the next Red Bank Community Food Pantry is Thursday, September 5th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. You can sign up to volunteer at their sign-up genius at redbankfoodpantry.org. And on to our report from Vice Mayor Dalton.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, everyone. I wanted to say congratulations to our Red Bank Police Department on receiving their first place award in the 11 to 25 officer category at the Tennessee Highway Safety Office's annual Tennessee Lifesavers Conference for their efforts related to traffic safety. Our wonderful Sergeant Alberg, who serves as our grant and project manager, among other things, for the police department, was there to receive the award. And we just want to say how proud we are of you all and how grateful we are for all you do to keep our community safe. Thank you, Chief. As the mayor mentioned, we do have beautiful new public art in our community. I just wanted to point out the intersections they're at in case you missed it or haven't seen them all yet, but they're at Dayton Boulevard intersections at Signal Mountain Road, Hedgewood Drive, Memorial Drive, and Morrison Springs Road, and hopefully more to come in the future. Before you head out to Food Truck Friday, this Friday, make sure you take our online survey about which educational and artistic wrap you would like to see on our Red Bank street sweeper. We're partnering with the Hamilton County Water Quality Department on this project that they are covering the cost of, and we want your input. There are 3 options to choose from, and the deadline, as I said, is this Friday the 6th. You can find the link to the survey on the city's Facebook page. Mark your calendars for Monday, September 9th at 6 p.m. Tennessee Valley Wild Ones will be hosting an educational program at the Red Bank Community Center on how to add annuals and ground cover to your native plant garden. The program is free to the public, so I hope to see you there. FYI, McCamey Animal Center is offering $10 microchips for your pets for the entire month of September. The microchip clinic at McCamey is every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and no appointment is needed to attend. And finally, I just wanted to say that I had a great time last week celebrating the grand opening of Red Bank Elementary School's new storybook trail, alongside District 6 School Board member Ben Connor, District 2 School Board member Ben Daugherty, and Mayor Berry. Thank you to Red Bank Elementary, Northside Neighborhood House, the City of Chattanooga, the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation, and Dolly Parton's Imagination Library for making the storybook trail a reality for our Red Bank students and families. And that's it for me.
Next, we have our report from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Thank you. Welcome back from the Labor Day long weekend. Red Bank High School Lions will compete with East Ridge this Friday at East Ridge, followed by an off week. They resume at home Friday, September 20th versus Signal Mountain, and then the next week, the 27th, with Cleveland. Bring your Red Bank pride to cheer for our Lions. Start time is at 7 p.m. From the Hamilton County Election Commission website, you can learn about the November 5th election, register to vote, be a precinct worker, absentee voting, early voting dates, and candidates running for office. The last day to request an absentee ballot is Tuesday, October 29th. Early voting for this election will be October 16th, Wednesday, to October 31st on Thursday. Cast your vote the day of or early. For Red Bank, there is an election for 2 commission seats with 4 candidates vying for those 2 seats. There are state races as well as the presidential election. Be informed and be active to cast your vote. Might I remind our residents and guests that the Red Bank Christmas Festival will be, and the parade will be Saturday, December 14th. So it's on a Saturday this year from 4 to 8. 3 to 8, thank you, boss, for shopping, eating, and fun. See the website for vendor and parade entry information. 100 library cards have been sponsored by 3 individuals. I might add that it's HGH Construction, which is John Kaufelt, Rise Partners, and River City Physical Therapy. They're supporting the intention of finances for getting a library card. Visit City Hall, bring proof of residency, first come, first serve. Households with children enrolled in Hamilton County will not be eligible because they already have access to a public library card. So it is the sponsorship that's helping get that off the ground. So thank you to those 3 companies. I think that there will be a cleanup on Saturday, September 21st from 10 a.m. to 12:30, followed by the access to the school property that TSW will then, the visioning workshop number 2 with a small areas day. So a busy morning and afternoon. Thank you.
Next, we have our report from Commissioner Phillips.
Thank you everybody for being here. Congratulations, Mayor, on your getting those cards finally through. I don't know how we got that all done, but I know this was one of your things I've heard for 4 years about the library card. So you know, I'm happy to see that up here.
Team
I'm
effort.
also
Team effort.
team effort, absolutely. Also the comprehensive plan here, and then it is election year. And I'm not running, as you all know, I hope. And but just let's kind of review where we've gotten and where we've gone from. So we've done a complete digital transformation in the last 4 years. There was no way you put a work order in online. You couldn't get a building permit online. We have that fixed now. We have a small area study, a multimodal study, a stormwater inventory, a parks inventory and needs assessment, correct? And a plan, an adopted plan by the commission. We have a facilities director, and by the way, I had to stop and use one of our public facilities about 10:30 at night. It was absolutely spotless, and it looked great. So that's just a personal thing there. And all of this is feeding into our comprehensive plan, which should be done by sometime this year, along with our small area study plan. So this is the old school building that nobody's done anything about for all these years, but this is where we're getting our input. We're getting everything put into there. So, all right, then we also have our banners on our that's come up. We have our Food Truck Friday. We have our the revitalized Red Bank Parade and the festival, the Jubilee. We have a White Oak Playground. All of this happened in the last 4 years. All the employees went from up to $15 an hour. There's nobody, I believe, is that correct? That we have at least a minimum $15 hour play. And I think some of them, there were 9 when we started. Am I not mistaken? And we have commission goals. We've had 5 goals over the last 3 years. I think 2 of them has survived. One of them is the plan. It just takes a while to plan. We have our 5 citizens advisory boards that was non-existent. So this is all volunteers, many hands lighten the load. And we have also increased our property taxes. Our home values went up 40% when we took over here. So we had to readjust our rate to come down to the 99 cents, I think is what it was. And we raised 9 cents, then got it to $1.10, which was a chicken out method. And I voted for the chicken out method. I was wrong on that. And then we had we hired our city manager. He come in, done a needs assessment, says, hey, this is what we need to be a grown-up city. We're 22% below Chattanooga, which I pay those taxes also. My stormwater fees in Chattanooga are exorbitantly more expensive than they are in Red Bank. And we're right in line with any comparable city as far as employees, budget, and property tax, right? So I've seen some of the signs out there that, that how much more can we take? Well, to be honest with you, you're getting it at a deal. And we get a lot of services here. I don't have to own a pickup truck. I can put my stuff at the road. City comes by and picks it up. I don't have to take it to the dump. I don't have to have Hamilton County to go over there and dump in the city of Chattanooga's thing. I have my spot. We have our own recycling center. And so I want to see this kind of continue. Now, you can call it progressive, you can call it whatever, but I'm throwing my support behind Vice Mayor Dalton, and I'm throwing my support behind Miss Terry Jones over there, and I hope you can vote for him this coming and continue our progress in the city. And that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, Commissioner Phillips, but I will encourage all commissioners to refrain from campaign messaging
Okay.
on the dais.
All right. Well, and fair enough.
Thank you.
And I hope the other 2 have wish them well too. Jeff Rice and Kate, right?
And our last report today is from Commissioner Wilkinson.
I think Commissioner Phillips's minutes will be more exciting than mine. Well, thank you guys for being out here. By virtue of going last again, I have nothing to say of substance, but I do want to wish my son Wright a very happy birthday today. He turned 4 years old today.
Buddy.
Happy birthday,
Wright. All
Sweet.
right. Next, we have our report from our city manager, Mr. Martin Granum.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I encourage everyone to read this month's Red Bank newsletter. It's a great product that all of us on staff are very pleased to share. It's available on the website, or you can subscribe and have it directly to your email inbox. The contents of this month covers a lot of what is going on, beginning with the September 21st community meeting to further our planning for the city's future and especially the vision for the former Red Bank Middle School site. This month's newsletter also reveals some new waste oil collection services from Public Works, celebrates our award-winning Red Bank Police Department's traffic safety efforts, provides resources for suicide prevention, updates on our ongoing efforts to beautify our city, and provides life-saving information on the hazards of carbon monoxide poisoning, and more. So please check out the September Red Bank newsletter. Please find at your seat and available in the back of the commission chambers information on the free library access cards. And front back is the standard flyer, and on the back is the press release, which has gone out. Also, please find at your seat and in the back of the commission chambers information on 2 city events on Saturday, September 21st, which have been mentioned. A volunteer litter cleanup in the morning and the previously mentioned community meeting at former Red Bank Middle School site in the afternoon. Please join us for both if you can. Commissioners, I also placed at your dais information from Northside Neighborhood House on their first 100 years of service. And just a reminder that there's a hail and farewell this Thursday, September 5th, down at the Chattanooga Theater Center, 400 River Street. And it is from 5 to 6:30, so it's a fairly small window, but you can farewell Rachel and hail the new director, Jessica Watley. So that's an opportunity to say thank you and hello to those important community partners. This Thursday and Friday, I will be participating in the Comptroller's Annual Certified Municipal Finance Officer Training, which will fulfill my required 16 hours of annual continuing education to retain my CMFO credential. Next Wednesday, September 11th, I will be a participant on a TASER panel as a representative of a city with concurrent jurisdiction. In other words, our court is a municipal court with concurrent general sessions jurisdiction. TASER is the Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations. TASER was created in response to legislative findings in the late 1970s indicating the need for a permanent intergovernmental body to study and take action on questions of organizational patterns, powers, functions, and relationships among federal, state, and local governments. The panel will be in the Cordell Hull building in downtown Nashville. I am invited to give brief opening remarks, after which the chair will open the panel to Q&A from commission members. Other panelists attending include Stephen Crump, the Executive Director of the Tennessee District Attorneys Conference, Patrick Froggy, Executive Director of the Tennessee Public Defenders Conference, Judge Dean Dedman, Municipal Court Judge with General Sections Jurisdiction from Dyersburg. The issue in debate is whether or not municipalities with concurrent jurisdictions should be required by statute to pay the district attorney or an assistant district attorney. I will continue to update the commission as this issue evolves. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Granum. Our first item of business today is a public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 24-1264. An ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending the zoning ordinance and maps of this city to rezone property located at 5011 Dayton Boulevard from C1 Commercial to C3 Neighborhood Commercial.
The beer board meeting is
Oh.
supposed to be first.
It is. Temporary adjournment.
Apologies.
Apologies, Director. I need to convene our beer board first. My apologies. All right. I'm afraid I'll have to temporarily adjourn this meeting and convene our beer board meeting. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Yes, excellent. Ms. Perry, will you please call the roll for the beer board?
Mayor Barry,
Here.
Vice Mayor Dalton,
Here.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey,
Here.
Commissioner Phillips,
Still here.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Okay.
All right. We have one item of business.
It's just separate.
I was gonna say, separate agenda. Vice Mayor, you are my lifeline today. They're mixing it up on me. Okay, special event beer permit for Jason Bowers, DBA Clever Ale House LLC for 4 one-day events, September 21st, Small Area Study Community Workshop 2, and Food Truck Fridays for October 4, October 18, and November 1. Welcome, Mr. Bowers.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Is there anything you'd like to add about your application?
Mainly just that we have read all the beer code. All of the servers will be TABC certified. There'll be proper signage about people not taking alcohol off a certain premise. Making sure that we're not over serving anybody. So the whole idea is to add kind of an element, not really create a whole party in itself, but just to add an extra thing to serve.
Absolutely. Any questions for the applicant? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
And it's
Thank you.
also
Thank
ice
you for
cream.
supporting.
Also your ice cream.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ice cream as well.
Oh, the ice cream in there too? We don't have to have beer board.
Beer
No,
board.
I didn't have to go.
This is strictly beer. The ice cream is like-
We didn't have to
Beer
get ice cream
float.
permitted here.
I was gonna say, will your beer floats be available at these events?
You know what? Yeah, probably. If the weather is good enough, then we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay, good to hear. We have the same applicant for item B, if it's okay if I go ahead and
Yeah.
do that one as well at the same time. We'll have to vote on them separately. Do we know? Yes, vote separately. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and vote on item 1 and we'll keep you up for item B if that's all right. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. All right, any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there's no more comments, then we'll call the vote on, it says, oh, it's a regular vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The agenda says roll call at the top of it. It threw me off. We're good.
Yeah, I missed that all.
It's okay. Our next item of business, the same applicant, special event beer permit for Jason Bowers DBA Civil Provisions for Oktoberfest on September 28th, 2024 from 11 to 4 p.m. at Red Bank City Park. Anything you'd like to add about that event?
Mainly, this is our 3rd year doing it. We're kind of gonna lean in this year, making Oktoberfest a huge success. So we'll be kind of reaching out to the Food Truck Friday folks and trying to make it a full-on event for
You
everyone.
have entertainment and all that stuff too.
That's what we're hoping. Yeah, hoping to get it all together.
I'm trying to
So,
plug this, you know.
yeah, we're hoping to have, music and games, and plenty of stuff for the kids, and then food trucks and ice cream.
Cool.
The whole jam.
And beer.
And beer, hopefully.
You guys know?
I think you have a few local business partners for that event as well.
Yes, Be Caffeinated will be there. We're still working on even connecting with more and more. Have a couple weeks to figure it out, but yeah.
Will Meeting House be
Yeah,
involved this
Meeting
year?
House will be involved as well. Yeah,
Okay.
so I know the last one, they brought pastries and some different lunch things, and we're hoping to bring the food truck and ice cream here. So,
Excellent. Any questions regarding Oktoberfest for the applicant?
I see a September date for October.
It's a late.
How do you find this out for that?
You gotta talk to the Germans about it. Their calendar's all wacky. They're late August to move to October forward, so
Well,
yeah.
that's why there's a K in
Yeah,
Oktoberfest.
exactly.
All right, if there's no more questions for the applicant, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there's no more comments, we'll call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Cool, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bowers.
Looking forward to it.
All right, that concludes our beer board meeting. We will adjourn and reconvene our regular meeting. Now, I'll welcome our director of community development, Leslie Johnson, back up for public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 24-1264, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending the zoning ordinance and maps of the city to rezone property located at 5011 Dayton Boulevard from C1 commercial to C3 neighborhood commercial pursuant to certain conditions. First reading.
Thank you. Good evening. The owners of 511 Dayton Boulevard, Mr. and Mrs. Chipwood, along with the applicant, Mr. Gordon Colvin, are present in attendance this evening. And they are obviously in support of the rezoning of C1 to C3 for the intended use of residential townhomes. The Planning Commission did consider the rezoning request at their July 24th meeting and were unanimous in their recommendation to support the rezoning with an added condition: the proposed development of townhomes be no more than 7 dwelling units as reflected on the preliminary site plan attached to the ordinance. The preliminary plan attached to the ordinance includes new sidewalk connectivity along Dayton Boulevard to existing sidewalks at Heartland Hills. It will also include the necessary conduit for the installation of light poles, which again is harmony with the existing lighting on Dayton Boulevard at Heartland Hills. Furthermore, the plan does include new sidewalk installation along the property line of Holiday Lane. The applicant is aware of the property's admired gone redwood tree on the site and does appreciate the passion surrounding it. But given its location on the property, the option to keep the tree significantly reduces the viability for development of the site. Additionally, the tree does have what is identified as a double trunk, meaning there is the potential structural weakness which can lead to its structural failure. The developer is proposing to replace this non-native tree with a native, such as a white oak, with replacement on the site, which would enhance the beautification of that corner. Staff has reviewed and is supportive of the rezoning request. The current zone C1 commercial allows residential uses, but only as single-family detached units. The proposed C3 neighborhood commercial zoning would allow for townhomes as proposed for this site. Given the size of the parcel as just being over half an acre, the proposed 7 townhomes with adequate parking, required landscape buffers is an appropriate density for the site itself. So however, the proposed condition of limiting it to 7 dwelling units may not be necessary given the zoning and the size of the property. Furthermore, I have concerns that it could potentially hinder development of the site should this particular development fall through. Staff's recommendation is supported for the rezoning from C1 to C3, but without the added condition of density. Given C3 neighborhood commercial zoning specifically allows increased density by way of townhomes and condominiums, it also encourages neighborhood specialty businesses and shops to support an increase in density. Just for references, the nearest C3 neighborhood commercial zone is located down at Barker Road, and then further south you run into a significant C3 established zone.
Okay, any questions for Director Johnson? All right, if not, then I will begin our public hearing. I do want to remind everyone present that the question before the commission is whether or not to rezone this property from its current zoning, which is C1 commercial, to C3 commercial. And that while this tree is beloved, there are no current protections under its current zoning of C1. So changing its zoning does not necessarily inherently change the status of that tree. There's nothing stopping it from being cut down with its current zoning as C1 today. Mr. Granum?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for public comment. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less. The city recorder will operate a timer. Please respect her direction and conclude any comments if time expires. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole, and not to a particular commissioner, city staff, or the audience. The commission is here to listen. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
And I will add if the applicant has anything that they would like to open with, please come forward.
Thank you all for having me tonight. My name is Gordon Logan, and I actually live here in Red Bank at 630 Boulevard Road. And I appreciate you considering the zoning request. The goal here is to build responsibly and offer kind of a newer alternative unit than just traditional single-family residential. I build here in Red Bank currently, and that is the primary product that is available. This sort of style is primarily for rent. These will all be for sale. And like Leslie said, the goal here is, unfortunately, the tree, even if it were to be a single-family residence, would have to come down. But the goal is to replant more trees. And I've actually reached out to a sawmill company, maybe able to use the tree to build a bench or something of that nature. So trying to do it responsibly and a good nature to overall be cohesive and add kind of a different product. So I appreciate you considering it.
Thank you, Mr. Holden.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
How many square feet are they gonna be?
Yes, 1,500 square feet apiece.
Feet.
So 18 foot wide and about 44 foot deep.
Okay.
So sidewalks all the way around the property. So kind of continue on around and hopefully tie into kind of long-term data.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, and I'd like to open the mic to any residents who would like to speak on the rezoning of 5011 Dayton Boulevard.
Drake between 120 Sweet Lane Drive. I'm ultimately in favor of this. I think this is what we need. We need more smaller houses too, and these are, I think it's about as small as we'll let them build right now. Is that right? I think so. I'm ultimately in support of this, but I do really love that tree, as I know a lot of people do. I was going to see if maybe we can get like 25 library cards for it.
That's a good old strong arm.
Thank you, Mr. residents who would like to speak on the rezoning?
Jamie Nelson, 12 Holiday Road. I don't know if my comment's actually appropriate because I don't care one way or the other if you change the zoning. I love that tree and that's what my comment is gonna be about. If you know me, you know that I love that Dawn Redwood. I've probably talked to every single person that I know in this room about that Dawn Redwood, and had you all down to the property to see if there was a way for us to buy that property or save it. I get that neither the city nor I have any control over what private property owners choose to do with their land. I also get it that some people believe that building homes is overall a better choice for us than saving a tree. But loving that tree, since I have moved here almost 4 years ago, it's really important to me to try to save it and to make that appeal at this time. As a member of the beautification committee with both city and planning commissioners, I included creating a park on the lot as a suggestion to the city in order to save the tree. I asked the builder of Hartman Hills to buy the land for a neighborhood park as a good faith gesture after the upheaval with their development. I asked the church that owned it about protecting the tree via the deed. I reached out to nonprofits about raising money to buy the lot. I emailed the city manager about buying it as a park to help the 10-minute park plan, all in an effort to protect the Dawn Redwood. Every morning I wake up and I see the only Dawn Redwood in Red Bank from my bedroom window. I know it's not a native, but it's the only one we have. It's massive. Originally from China, it is a deciduous tree that is a cousin of the giant sequoia. Reflection Writing has 3 in conservation today. They came to the U.S. as part of garden clubs in the 40s and 50s when the tree was endangered. I see it no matter where I am in my yard or on my street. In the fall, I watch grackles swarm from the poplar in my backyard down to the Dawn Redwood. Killdeer mate and teach their tiny babies to survive under the tree every year. While not native, the Dawn Redwood is not invasive. It has been here getting more regal for more than 70 years, and it can live to be 300. The tree was planted by a business owner when there were motels, restaurants, and other commerce along Dayton Boulevard. Those businesses have been replaced by junkyards, warehouses, and rundown buildings that would all benefit from development. People know the tree. They marvel at its changes through the seasons. Its property is used by residents walking their dogs and kids riding their bikes. There's even a lady who drives over from Hickson just to visit the tree. I hope you understand that it's not about random trees and parks. It's about that tree. I can't quantify its benefits in terms of profit, tax revenue, or population density because those are the value of the property. The value of the tree is not reflected that way. Its value is in its beauty and how it connects all of us. I can't articulate to you the impact that losing that tree will have on me personally or on our community. I know that the only hope to save it is for the developer to hear this appeal and to make a different plan that doesn't involve destroying the Dawn Redwood. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Anyone else who would like to speak on the rezoning of 5011 Dayton Boulevard? Okay, if there are no more public comments, then I will close the public hearing. Thank you all. All right. Having heard our public hearing, do I hear a motion to approve the rezoning?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I apologize. We have a motion and a second. But we did have on this agenda, it says pursuant to certain conditions. And we had a recommendation from our staff to remove those conditions. Is there a motion to approve the rezoning without condition?
And the condition was before I do so.
The condition was to limit the development to only 6 townhomes, I believe. Is that correct? 7, thank you. 7 townhomes. And the staff recommendation was to approve the rezoning without condition. The goal of that would be to ensure that for any reason, should this development fall through, the land would be unencumbered for other C3 approved developments.
Yes, I will.
Okay, we have a motion.
Adjust my motion to.
I wish Arnie was here, amended a motion to amend the primary motion to approve the rezoning with no condition. Is that correct, Commissioner Wilkinson?
Correct.
Okay, do I have a second to Commissioner Wilkinson's motion?
I'll second it.
Do we have a second to Commissioner Phillips? All right, we will vote on the amendment first. After we have our normal discussion. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion of the board?
Well, I understand the tree. I do. I get it. I like the tree myself. However, you know, no matter what, I mean, it's his property. He can do what he wants to. And, and that's not our job here. Our job is not to make sure that, we're the wildlife agency or the park ranger. Our thing's job is to do the zoning for that and either one family unit, commercial unit, or we can have some townhomes there with people, and I'll go for the people.
And I do appreciate Mr. Hogan's mention of a bench
Yeah,
or a part to remember the tree. Maybe there, I don't know how many benches you could get out of that tree.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that respectful gesture.
Yes, absolutely. You got it.
For my own part, I find myself in a situation where my values are at odds because I'm certainly, everyone knows I'm a nature lover, very passionate about preservation in the outdoors and trees in particular, especially specimen trees like this one. But I also have in this case, conflicting passion for affordable housing in our community, for residential density that's going to support our local businesses. It's going to enhance our sales tax revenues. The denser housing will also create a higher property tax value per acre, which means that developments like this is what's going to allow us to maintain our current level of service or possibly even expand our city services without having to make any tax rate increases, because they pay more per square acre on developments like this than on what most of us live in our detached single family homes, have relatively low property tax value per acre compared to this. So in this case, it's one of the tough, if the question were whether to cut down the tree for houses or not, I would be put in a tough situation, and ultimately have to win out for the desire for affordable housing in our community. But given especially that that's not the question in point, but whether to this parcel with an unprotected tree remain C1 or become C3. Certainly I'm going to choose the housing option as well in this scenario. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I'll echo everything you said and also say that, I think about if it's been C1 for a long time and there's not really an appropriate C1 use there because of the size of the lot. I believe, if I'm correct, maybe you can correct me, but I think there was an initial potential request to build like a warehouse type building on that property by a previous owner or something, and that's not allowed in C1. So I think maybe then it was resold. And so I think about what could have been there if that was allowed, a warehouse on that property instead of anything that's adding value to our community. And we have infrastructure investment that's coming from the developer where we're not going to have to pay for sidewalks. There's an underground stormwater detention system. That's infrastructure we're not having to pay for. The conduits for the lighting, that's infrastructure we're not having to pay for. If you're like me and you live in the north part of Red Bank, until the Hartman Hill development came along, which was decided before me, but we did get to play a part in asking them to add sidewalk infrastructure outside of their development. And so, because of several of us on this board, we have some sidewalk now north of Browntown Road, something to get connected to. And then this is, adding to that. And so I have to think about those things. And as the mayor said, I'm very fond of trees and nature and native plants and species in our community. but I also have a job to do. And unfortunately, I can't let my emotions get in the way of that. So I just want to say that I do appreciate your comments, Ms. Nelson, very much so. And do echo sadness over, the situation. But I am also appreciative of what's, coming, what's being offered. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right. Well, we just had our public hearing on the topic, so I'll forego the usual public comment. If there are no more comments, then Ms. Perry, will you please call the roll for us?
This is to,
So on the amended motion to approve without condition,
Mayor Mary,
yes.
Vice Mayor Dalton,
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Vargas.
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on first reading. We will have a second reading and a vote at our next meeting. Thank you very much. Next item of business is resolution number 24-1726, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, approving amendments to the employment agreement between the City of Red Bank, Tennessee and Martin Granum, City Manager. Ms. Perry. Director Perry.
This resolution is simply to amend the contract. We're pulling out the salary and any pay adjustments into a different part, into a different resolution, so we don't have to revisit the contract every time. This is just to approve the contract that was presented to you about a month ago.
Okay. Any questions for Director Perry? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Dalton. Any further discussion?
Well, this pulls his pay out of his contract so that we can do this without having to rewrite the entire contract. And it does have a few little, he doesn't have to live in the city of Red Bank. And there was a few other little things that was kind of like, I don't know how they got in there, but yeah, they wasn't a big deal. So,
My understanding is we started with kind of a default draft contract from, was it the City Managers Association, Mr. Graham? That the kind of your base contract was developed from initially?
Yes, there is a standard template from the ICMA,
Yeah, thank you.
but this is also informed by previous city manager contracts that were unique to Red Bank as well. So it's good to have that.
Mayor.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
I will say, I think there were also some changes where we didn't have guidelines or rules established for what happens if Mr. Granum were to become incapacitated and not serve as city manager for 60 days out of a 6-month period. Like, we didn't have anything in the contract for that. So honestly, if he had been hospitalized or something, we didn't really have a plan for that. And that's one of the amendments that's going to be, that's in this proposed contract.
Yeah. Our legal counsel found a few items found a few items to change and a few items that he felt were missing, like any provision whatsoever for disability that were kind of holes in the original contract. And so we've kind of filled those holes in this new contract. Right. So it's more complete than the original. Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Any comments from the residents present? All right. If there's no more comments, then we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
We have a 4 and an abstention. Motion carries. The next item of business is related. Resolution number 24-1727, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, increasing the annual base salary of the city manager, Martin Granum, from $110,000 to $130,000, retroactive to July 1, 2024. Director Perry. Or do you want me to go over this one?
Probably better.
Okay, I'll take it if you want me to. So like we talked about earlier, we've pulled the salary out of the base contract, so that way it can be modified independently without having to revisit the entire contract. And during the budget process, we approved, in the budget, different salary for the city manager to be in line with his colleagues. Not quite in line, honestly. Vice Mayor just read off our competition in our region for city manager salaries, and we're 130,000 is the lowest still for cities of our size. But it brings it much closer in line than it was at 110,000, which was his initially hired salary back when we hired him in September of 2021. And he has not received any pay increases, cost of living increases, or bonuses to that base salary of 110 since September of 2021, including the ARPA COVID relief funds that we every full-time city employee in the city received a bonus from those funds, except for Mr. Granum, as Commissioner Phillips reminded me at our work session. So this resolution is matching Mr. Granum's pay to the amount we had budgeted for in the budget discussions recently, and of course making it retroactive to July 1, because that's when the budget year started, to bring it all up into line. Is that an adequate summary? Anything you'd like to add, Vice Mayor?
If I may, I think is it in the resolution that it's worded that actually if this is voted through, that he will then be eligible for cost of living increases, like all the other employees are every year.
He'll be eligible if other full-time employees receive it, he's also eligible. Moving up the step.
Yes, if the other full-time employees receive a COLA, he will also receive that COLA.
Yes.
All right, so given that summary, do I hear a motion to approve?
Oh, move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I'll have a second from Commissioner Phillips. Any further discussion? Any No. Any comments from the residents present?
I just want to say, even though I'm mad I don't have a park at the end of my street, I do support everything that Mr. Granum has done for our city, and I think it's high time that he made a salary that was commensurate with his peers in same-sized cities, and it's unconscionable that we have not had a cost of living raise for our city manager for so long. So I'm in full support of this pay raise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Any other comments?
Drake Tweed, 120 Sweetland Drive. Mr. Granum was the best city manager I've ever known. I don't think that, I think 130 was said, I don't think it's enough. I think like 150 would probably be better. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Mr. Bertweet. Any other comments? Okay, if there are no more comments, then we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'll abstain, please.
Or an abstention? Motion carries. Next, we have resolution number 24-1728, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing an application to the Tennessee Arts Commission for a Creative Aging Tennessee 3 grant in an amount of up to $5,000 with no match requirement if awarded. Mr. Graby.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. I am excited to present to you our first grant application, if it is approved by the Commission, to go after since the adoption approval of our master plan, identifying some gaps in programming here in Red Bank. The one program that we are doing right now at a very small pace that we intend to grow over the next year with the hiring of a part-time program assistant in conjunction with other grants to get things going is our Red Bank Active Older Adults program, formerly the Seniors on the Go, which was a group of citizens that got together to put together senior programming. They were not a nonprofit, nor were they city affiliated. And after 15 years of successfully running, they came to the city, asking the city to take over because we are able to go after grant funding to do more programming for them. So this no match grant would allow us to go after up to $5,000 for arts for our Red Bank Active Older Adults program. I originally found this grant actually when we were partnering with the Chattery, and they had received it last year, and they graciously did free classes for us this past year to allow some arts programming to happen with our seniors. We got great reviews from the people that attended. I had emails and voicemails asking for more of that. And with this grant, we will be able to continue to do that through the rest of this fiscal year without having to dip into other funds.
Very, very cool.
One thing you'll notice in the requirements is that the teachers that we are using do need to be certified. And through our partnership with the Chattery, all of those teachers are certified. So if the Tennessee Arts Commission comes back and audits anything, we will have done everything according to the grant application.
What a great partnership. All right, any questions for our Parks Manager Graby?
Is this the art that the ladies and gentlemen were doing earlier that were asking you when they were going to do it again?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so this will then cover
Yeah,
that.
so not only will this help us add more art programming in, but there are also specific teachers that participated that loved our programming and the participants that are there that they want to come back and work with. So yeah.
Great to hear. All right, any other questions for Mr. Graby? All right, if not, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I hear a second?
I'll
We
second.
have a second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Any further discussion? Thank you for going after this grant.
Yes,
That's
thank
very
you.
exciting, especially that's possible now for the seniors programming to go after grants. Like you said, they were
And we have a
eligible.
parks plan, so you can go do things like this.
And a parks manager to
Yeah.
apply for these grants.
And an
And a
advisory
Parks
board.
Advisory Board that has put in the work. All right. Is there any comments from any residents present? All right. If there's no comments, then we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. You have another item. Resolution number 24-1729, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing application to the Arts Build Community Cultural Connections Grant in an amount of up to $2,000 with no match requirement if awarded. Mr. Kirby.
Yes, correct. So on top of the Tennessee Aging 3 grant through the Tennessee Arts Commission, we also would like to apply for a grant through through the Arts Build, which is a nonprofit in Chattanooga. And it will help build on top of what we were doing. The money does need to be used for forms of art programming for our seniors, but it'll just add more on top of that. So our hope is if we are able to get both grants and the total amount, again, non-matching, will be $7,000 to put towards our programming so that we can use other money that we have budgeted for other programming with our seniors and with the city at large.
For other programming for which there's less grant funding available
Correct.
to us. Thank you.
Are there any specific rules with who teaches using that grant money?
No, this one, since it's through a nonprofit, is a little bit more laissez-faire in it. They want to make sure that the money is being used for what it has been granted for, but it is not as highly stipulated as the Tennessee Arts Commission grant.
I think it just is a small list of things that you can't spend the money on,
Correct.
which makes sense.
Yeah, so for example, we couldn't use the money to paint the inside of the community center, but we could use the money to do a painting class.
Or to lead a community painted mural on the inside. Not that we want to now that we have that beautiful hanging system with our photos on display. All right, is there any other questions for Mr. Graby? All right, then do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from competing seconds, second from Vice Mayor Dalton. Any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there's no further discussion, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is resolution number 24-1730, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing the purchase of an on-premise server from R.J. Young Company to replace a current server that is past service life, together with monthly backup management fees for a one-time cost of $16,257.91 and a monthly cost thereafter of $562.50. Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just to point out something just real quickly before I start explaining. The monthly cost on the description should be $562.80, which is reflected correctly in the resolution itself. We that working on correcting that today. So 30 cents, but that's 30 cents times 12. Okay, well, as y'all know, we're doing this digital transformation thing, so this is part of it. As we got into this project, not everything can be transformed into the cloud. And so this is one of those situations to where a server has to stay here in-house as well. So this cost, because the software that we use for this particular product is not developed to be able to have that supported in a cloud or off-site environment. So this will be on-site. This replaces the aging, out-of-date server that we currently have, which is one reason we're moving things as well, because they're outdated and need to be moved anyway. But this replaces that. This is the actual replacement of that, all the labor that's involved, the data transferring and all that. Then on part of that includes the backup and the recovery. That's the monthly recurring that helps cover the backups, and if something happens, pays for the recovery of that data and information like that. This was earmarked, funds were earmarked out of the ARPA as far as for this project, so it's not coming out of the general fund. Now the reoccurring fees will be coming out of the general fund, which we budgeted funds for that, so shouldn't be a problem there. Any questions on any of this?
Go ahead first. Go ahead
Well, I
first.
was just going to ask, I'm sure there was already a recurring monthly expense for the server that we have currently. Do you know what the difference in monthly cost is?
No, it's hard to determine that because we are paying this fee for backup services and all that, but that will be going away because we're starting to paying for different fees for the data that's on the cloud as well.
Oh, okay.
So there's that, but as this builds up, then this over here will be going away.
Okay.
So that's, even though this 562 will be reoccurring, yes, we're gonna have to start paying that. There's also going to be a decrease here.
Okay.
Until we get through that transition period, it's gonna take a few months to do. I don't know exactly where all that will be settled in.
Okay.
My only question is, when's the last time we sent out for bid? I know RJ Young's been here for a long time, so long as I can remember anyway, and that's not been that long, but how do we bid that? What is the procurement process for our technology? I mean, are they just it and we're just comfortable? Do we ever send that out for bid?
We did. I think 2016 was the last time we sent out for bid. I know we have to revisit the contract. It would be good practice to be able to do that because of all the things and changes that we have transpired and taken place.
Mhm.
I just didn't want to do it in the middle of transferring all this.
Sure.
So,
Because I mean, we've been in a transition phase, right? You're
Correct.
correct.
and we've been doing that for several years, right? Just different stages of that. 'Cause we have to take into account inventory of our, actually, we're getting a good deal. Truth be known, they're not charging us currently for everything that we probably should be charged for because we're in this transition phase, because there's monthly costs for each individual device that we have. And so part of that, part of our agreement with our account manager is us looking at that, once we do that, which then come back before the commission for consideration. Staff we'd have to look at, do we put that out for bid or not again, or do we continue? There's pros and cons to each, right? To be able to do that. But
So did they monitor all of your I mean, when I had mine, they monitored all my devices and said which ones was, using up all the RAM or slow or whatever. And you all do that also.
Correct.
Yeah.
They have the abilities to do that, to get warnings, whether they're updates. A lot of it is done automatically. Some of that is not, as far as type of software and all that.
And I see servers hadn't gone down any since this is the last one I bought.
Well, they've gone up even the last four lockouts. The last few years. So, there's benefits to having the cloud environment as well as, we call that, that's the move, is to getting it on kind of off premise. And so otherwise it'll go down. We have to buy those servers. Otherwise, you're then, in this respect, you're paying for the service, ongoing service, so we don't have the upkeep of that. If I had a full IT division that had those particular qualifications, and we can revisit that. But that's just not, I think we'd be going backwards if we did that.
How often does a technician or a representative from RJ Young come by to?
Well, I'll say this, we're probably on the phone with them every day.
Okay.
Now they don't come by here, every time, because a lot of what they do can be monitored remotely. A lot of our conversations help troubleshooting or are looking at these different projects, because this is just part of the project. We're trying to get here, and then we've got some other security improvements that we want to introduce into our IT infrastructure. We still have really good security, but there's even better that we want to do, which I don't really want to get into in a public session, but I'll be happy to answer those individually as well, for sure. So.
We have Stacy for our in-person IT needs.
Well,
Hopefully,
she does, right?
hopefully you're not having to crawl under desks quite as much as you used to.
No, she does that more than I do, but she's helped out a great deal. And y'all, they've reached out as far as procuring, introducing the laptops to y'all, trying to move towards that less paper idea. Sure.
All right. Any other questions for the chief? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there's no more comments, we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business, resolution number 24-1731. Resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, adopting bank form resolutions and authorizing signers for bank signature cards. Ms. Perry.
This is just so we can add Ms. Pickle, our new CFO, who's today was her first official day as a Red Bank employee.
Oh.
We're adding her to the signatory cards on all of our bank accounts so she can accomplish her duties as the CFO.
We all got to officially meet Ms. Pickle at our last commission meeting, so welcome officially on board as a Red Bank employee today, Ms. Pickle. All right, any questions for Ms. Perry? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
A motion from Vice Mayor. Did I hear a second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey?
Yes.
All right, any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there's no more discussion, we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Last voting item, resolution number 24-1732. A resolution by the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, proclaiming the month of September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Sorry.
Every month, we are trying to recognize something, and September has become the month of suicide prevention awareness. I did see it, so put something in the
Newsletter.
Yes.
So this is gonna be the last month we actually do a resolution on it. We're just going to proclaim the month of September Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. We're here going forward, and the newsletter will take it wherever it's gonna go. That's just what we're doing right now, officially declaring September Suicide Prevention Awareness.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I hear a second?
I'll do that.
We have a second from Commissioner Phillips. Any further discussion?
I would
Vice Mayor?
just like to say, as someone who works in mental health, I appreciate us recognizing this month. And that it is a very serious problem that we are facing across our country. And I just wanted to let everybody know, in case you didn't know about it, that 988 is the National Suicide and Crisis Hotline number that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any comments from the residents present? All right, if there's no more comments, then we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? September is hereby Suicide Awareness Month. All right, we have now reached the time for citizen comments for items not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer. Please respect her direction and conclude comments if time expires. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, city staff, or the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply or a comment. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
I'm Sean Beto, 100 Delray Ave. Hey guys, I'm informal, so I'm not used to all of this stuff, so sorry if I offend. I live at 100 Delray Ave, and I'm here to represent my neighborhood. 2 Fridays ago, one of our neighbors was hit by a truck just standing in the street. And he had to go to the emergency room, but did have some injuries and was okay and was able to go home. And I'd like to be here to speak up about getting some speed bumps put into our neighborhood. And I know that there's 4 ways to do it and request things, but we don't want it stuck in a pile of paper somewhere because that happens. So we have known speeders in the neighborhood. They come through all the time. Doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter if you jump in front of them. They don't give a damn. It just happens. So I work in the chemical industry, and worldwide, it's known that things happen when people die. People don't like to step up to the plate before someone dies. They wait till they die, and then they do something, and they think they're a hero, but they're not. It's the people that do it beforehand. And I'm afraid of what would happen if I'm going down the street and my 10-month-old's hit by a car, because it's going to be way worse than what happened recently. So like walking through the neighborhood, now there's families everywhere. We watch our back, like we're stepping off the street now because one of that guy's about to hit us. So I would put in the notification, and I just want to stand here and say that like we are advocating for it. And if the city doesn't do it, we're going to do it. So please put the pressure on and have our back and stand up for us, because this is something that's serious. I don't want to see like a 5-year-old kid laying in the street because some dumbass was speeding down the road. So just please do what you can for us and stand up for us. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Beto. Any other comments?
Wayne Cook, 2619 Berkeley. I'd just like to piggyback on his comments about speeding, some roads, and I've talked to Greg about this. I inquired about speed bumps at the bottom of Signal View. People come down Signal View at the corner of Fife. We have renters there that have 2 small 1-year-old twins and a 2-year-old. You know, their front yard's pretty short. And they continuously have people coming down Signal View going way more than 25. Something has to be done. Like he said, somebody else is going to get hit. You know, I don't know if we need to get some more enforcement. I know there was mention about bringing the speed limit signs up. You know, you're going, it seems like the only place you see them up there is Reading, or, you know, around the park at Reading Road. They need to be moved around and some enforcement done, because more people are going to get hurt. And this is, you know, since he said something, I had to say something.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Ann Wheeler, 427 Trail. I agree. There are several places in Red Bank that we need speed humps, slow people down. Mostly in the residential areas where kids play and get out the road. But that's not what I came up here for. as a citizen of Red Bank, I am going to openly apologize to Jeff Fairbanks and Katie Minna Berkeley for Commissioner Phillips campaigning from his seat as a commissioner.
And Jeff Price.
And,
There's a Jeff Fairbanks, but this is.
Excuse me, I just read
That's
Jeff.
okay, you know both of them.
Jeff Price and Katie Minna Berkeley. I feel it was a gross commission of common courtesy.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
I know I'm not. Also, as a breach of, I would think, commission rules, and I appreciate you calling him out on it.
I appreciate
Or at
it.
least he probably didn't listen, but that's okay. But this meeting is viewed on YouTube by any citizen in Red Bank that would like to watch it. Many stay home and don't come. I just happen to be here and I happen to hear it, and I'm not going to sit and be quiet. I think it's appalling, and I think it would be appalling that you all would say it's okay to ask forgiveness rather than permission.
Thank you, Ms. Wheeler. Any other comments for items not on tonight's agenda? Okay. If there are no more comments, then do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips. Do I hear a second?
I'll second. I take it.
Okay, we got a
Hey,
convenient.
it's your son's birthday.
A second from
That's right.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes, give it to
So
him.
we can go wish Wright a happy birthday. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.